With UFC 251 only a couple of days away, a lot of attention has been given to Jorge Masvidal for stepping up on a week's notice to challenge for the UFC Welterweight title. Jorge Masvidal's manager Abraham Kawa claims that Kamaru Usman is upset over Jorge Masvidal getting all the attention. He posted this on his Twitter saying, "Rumor has it that Usman is upset that Jorge is getting all the media attention and has asked the UFC to please include him in the national media spots." Dana White recently made a replica of Jorge Masvidal's BMF belt as a gift for The Rock. The Rock reacted and posted this on his Instagram saying, "This BMF title just arrived and displayed in my office. A gift from my brother Dana White and the UFC. Good timing. Jorge Masvidal vs Kamaru Usman. Huge fight. Strong card. Can't wait. I appreciate and respect all the fighters' inspiring efforts as the show must always go on." Earlier today, footage of Mike Perry appeared of him knocking an old man out.
But y'all gonna tell the police that I fucking
you know the police.
I'm not. You do it, motherfucker, you fat piece of shit.
Hey, no.
Mike Perry reacted and posted this on his Twitter saying, "No comment." Ben Askren on the Ariel Helwani's MMA show breaks down Kamaru Usman vs Jorge Masvidal.
There is part of me that actually says Usman is able to take him down and control him for a long period of time. Hey, you know what? I talked about where a wrestler gets tired. You know what the perfect example of that is? Why didn't I think of this earlier? Maya Masvidal. Maya got tired in the third round, and Masvidal very clearly won the third round. That's a great example. Maya was able to take him down the first two rounds, but was, I don't want to say exhausted, but was worn down from taking him down and had a very tough third round. And he clearly lost that third round. So, there is part of me that says maybe Usman can take him down for 5 rounds, hold him down. And there's part of me that says George either stuffs some of the takedowns or gets him tired from trying to take him down, and then in the latter rounds is not able to do so. And I think if it's just a striking battle, I think it's pretty obvious that George wins that one. So I would probably lean towards. Usman for sure. But I think there's distinct possibilities where Masvidal can win. I think there's a possibility of it. Yeah, I think there's a reasonable possibility of it. Obviously Maya took him down a handful of times and controlled him. So I would say, Maya's probably got worse takedowns than Usman does. I don't know. I mean, right? So Till didn't wrestle at all. Right, that didn't happen. Me obviously didn't get a chance to wrestle him, and then obviously Diaz was no wrestling, right? So we haven't necessarily seen. I know obviously he's put time into his wrestling. And he values that. He knows that's an important skill. So what I was going to say, Maya has great control, right? His control is outstanding, whereas maybe Usman's isn't. So I think maybe the bet is that he thinks maybe he gets taken down, but he can get up. And for a wrestler, that there's nothing more annoying when you go through the effort of putting something down and then they get back up. That's so annoying. You're like, oh damn, put this dude down. Now I got to take him down again. And obviously, if you have a lot of effort into the takedown, it can be exhausting as well. Yeah, I mean, under those odds, I would kind of lean Masvidal. I think I'm the odds maker. I'm going to make the odds a little bit closer. I think 3-1 is fairly significant. I think he's kind of overplaying his non-training camp. Like I said, I think he was probably training, thinking he was going to get the fight, and then they went with Burns instead. So I would guess he's at least in decent shape, if not good shape. Here's the thing with, and I think some people underrate this. They think, as wrestlers, wrestling people is hard, right? So you're generally going to get tired. Throwing punches is actually not that physically taxing. I wish I could remember a fight like this just to, point it out. But sometimes wrestlers get tired. And when wrestlers get tired and strikers still have a little bit of gas left, but wrestling people can get exhausting, especially wrestling for 15, 20 minutes. And then the fighter, the good striker really only has to land a few really hard punches to put someone down. And so if you can make the wrestler get tired through wrestling and getting up and stuffing takedowns, and then you can get them to a point where they're pretty tired from trying to wrestle you, and you can land good strikes. That can be very beneficial to the striker.
I'm done 1 hour cardio because Paulina Hernandez with Jorge Masvidal in Abu Dhabi. But I'm not lazy. Hey coach, you hear me? I'm not lazy. I'm training. Have a good day, guys.
Rose Namajunas in the UFC 251 pre-fight interview speaks on her preparation for her fight against Jessica Andrade.
What did I take away? For me, I just got to get better, and that's basically all I focused on. And as far as, what her saying that, obviously it's only 3 rounds versus 5, so, she can't sit back and wait, and we're ready for that. Yeah, I think that's what a lot of people are saying, but I know what I'm capable of, and I know, you know, yeah, my striking had gotten a lot better, but it's also Andrade kind of made me look good just by standing there and taking everything. No, I'm just looking at, you know, what's right in front of me, and that's this fight. Obviously, that's always the goal, and that's always something that. But even then, I really enjoyed just being me, and you know, not having the belt attached to that. Even though I'm always gonna be a champion, but it's just been cool just to focus on this fight, and that's it.
Malki Kawa, in a recent interview with Ariel Helwani, speaks on how Jorge Masvidal got the deal he wanted with the UFC.
Dude, listen, let me tell you something. Saturday morning, we did not have a fight. It was like, it didn't work out Friday night, you know? It started early Friday, late Thursday, I want to say. You know what I mean? Like, hey, you know what I mean? Is Masvidal available to do this, that, or the other? And I was like, you know, we just stuck to the same things that we had always discussed, you know? And let's just say Friday night, I want to say about 1 o'clock Eastern, my time, right? It was like, we're not doing it, done, it's over with. So that was it. The next morning was July 4th. And I'm having a big barbecue at my house, you know what I mean, July 4th and stuff. And Georgie comes with his kids and all that. And he comes actually before Abe. And around
Abe, your brother.
Yeah, Abe without my brother. My brother usually would be there on time, and you know, everybody would all be together. And so all of a sudden, Georgie walks in. He was the first one to show up out of everybody that was coming. And I was like, you know what? Hold on 1 second. Let me see something. So I called the UFC back right there. It was, I want to say, about 12:15 or something like that, around there. I'm not sure. It was right around afternoon. And I was like, hey, listen, I got Georgie here. Let's just work this shit out. And a few hours later, like I'm talking about, it took a bunch of hours, but we were like back and forth and jotting stuff down, going back and forth. We finally got, like, then it started to turn into, okay, well, we got past this. We need to test, we need to do this, we need to do that. And so we just started scrambling, getting everything together, the jet, the testing, all that stuff. I mean, I tested them there just to make sure. And then they got tested, everybody was cleared. Then we got, you know, the plane ready to take them the next day, took them to Vegas, did more testing there. And then, you know what I mean? Now, obviously, everybody now is caught up to speed. And that's kind of where we're at.
Is it true that at one point, Masvidal gets on the phone and talks to the UFC and is like, come on, guys, like, cut the BS, let's make this happen?
Yeah, his words were, they mentioned something about not knowing, like, you know, like, they what is it they said? They said something to the effect of, got a bunch of Ivy League guys, you know, here and stuff, and economists, and the forecasting for this thing is so difficult. We have no idea what this thing's going to do, blah, blah, blah. And his response was something to the effect of, I have an Ivy League education in street assassinations, or something like that. So listen, I just need to get this thing done. Let's work this thing happen. And that's kind of what kind of started to get, like, because what happened was everything was tense, right? And that kind of mellowed it out, because it was a nice little laugh, and everybody kind of laughed, and it kind of like reminded everybody, like, yo, Masvidal's a good dude who's always stepped up and always was willing to fight. He's just stuck to his guns as far as what he wanted to do, and that's kind of what happened. And then it absolutely worked out, and I was never afraid it wouldn't work out. How's that?
Okay. From the initial offer to when this all started, for him to fight on July 11th, to then where it ended, and they eventually went with Gilbert Burns, to what he got to take this fight on 6 days' notice, how close to the initial offer was it, or excuse me, to what you guys were looking for, right? Like, how close did you end up getting to what you were originally looking for?
Oh, I mean, listen, to me, in my opinion, because I know, like Georgie said something about having to sign a new deal, and he didn't have to sign a new deal. That's not true. And at the same time, I know that there was a dollar figure that he wanted, and I know we're gonna beat that dollar figure. So we actually got more than what we probably could have expected. Depending on how you look at it, whether you look at it from this way or that way, I don't want to get into too much into it, but the truth is, in my opinion, if this does what I think it's going to do, then based on the stuff that we did in the deal, right, George is going to make way more money than he even initially asked for. And that's big on the UFC, because what the UFC basically did was allowed us the opportunity to earn it, and it gave us some opportunity to make up for some things that maybe we didn't get in a different way. And you can't, let me say this. I think the UFC is extremely happy. I know we're extremely happy, and I hope the fans are extremely happy, because honestly, it took a lot of real, sitting down and focusing on getting this deal done in the middle of a 4th of July barbecue. Mind you, he's 20 pounds overweight. There's food everywhere. He doesn't eat none of that, but then he jumps on a plane now and he's eating pizza. I mean, he's the wildest dude I've ever met in my life.